Now, most of us dread getting our luggage weighed at the airport. But what if you were asked for your own weight as well? An airline in Europe is the latest carrier asking people to weigh in, reigniting the debate, would you step on the scales with your carry-on?
Not a chance. Not a chance.
I'm a lightweight, so I agree with it.
Now I wouldn't get on the scales. None of their business.
Your boarding pass and weight, please. Imagine if you got this question at the departure gate. Well, it's happening in Finland, where the national carrier, Finnair, is asking passengers to weigh in at check-in. The airline says it's gathering data that's vital for safety to better estimate a plane's weight. It's a voluntary trial at first, but has caused quite the stir among travellers. So would you jump on the scales?
I think I'd feel personally violated. I think that would actually be inappropriate.
I weigh 50 kgs, so I see people, 150, 200 getting on, and, surely it must be relevant to, like the efficiency of the plane, but also, seating arrangements.
As you say, the way society scolds people now, you wouldn't want everybody in the airport knowing your weight.
I would be in favour of it with caveats. It's very, very important to be as accurate as you can in your takeoff weight because that's going to affect the fuel burn of the aircraft. It's very expensive to carry fuel that you're not going to use.
It's not the first airline to ask passengers to weigh in. Air New Zealand and Korean Air had similar trials last year. Samoa Air took it a step further, charging passengers based on their weight.
I think that the spiteful person in me would say, yeah, make them pay.
It's disgraceful. I mean, we are what we are. You could have different reasons, medical reasons for your weight.
Yeah, I just think that's discriminatory. I don't think that's fair.
Well, it's certainly a controversial topic, so let's get our experts to weigh in. Boom, boom. Aviation expert Jeffrey Thomas joins us in Perth, along with Quentin Long from AustralianTraveller.com with me in the studio. Welcome to you both. Quentin, to you first. Would you be happy to hop on the scales at check-in?
Yeah, look, Deb, I would be, but I have enough knowledge and understanding of what actually they're trying to do. I know that they're not going to record my weight against my ticket. I really don't care. I know that it's for a lot of safety reasons, and it's actually for the good of everybody to really understand what is actually happening in the aircraft, balance it properly, and make sure that we're all safe. So I do understand people are hesitating and a bit uncomfortable with it, though. And
Jeffrey, why is it so important for airlines to actually do this?
Look, it's extremely important. In fact, it's critical. When you check in, you're a male or a child or a lady, and different weights are applied to different people, and those weights go into the calculation of the takeoff weight of the aircraft, also the weight and balance of the aircraft where people are positioned on the aeroplane. So it's a takeoff critical issue, and it's a balance issue, and both of them are fundamental to safe flying.
So safety is really at the forefront here?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Quentin, would we see a world, do you think, where passengers would be penalised for their weight?
Look, I just cannot see that happening. The airlines are too smart to know that the passengers would be very, very uncomfortable, and that actually cause a huge PR backlash. Add to that, I can see a world in which that would be contested as discriminatory. And so I just don't think the airlines are ever in the world going to really push this as a pay per weight sort of ticketing system. It just doesn't make sense, and it won't fly with customers.
There'd be a hell of a lot of backlash.
Oh, there is so many protests. It would be absolutely ugly and disastrous, and a massive, massive own goal by any airline that tried to do it.
The reality is, though, that as a population we are getting heavier. So do you think, Jeffrey, in light of that we might see some trade-off, that perhaps the check-in weight or what you can carry on will become lighter to compensate?
Well, that could be the question, and a lot of people who are lightweights argue, well, listen, I should be compensated because I'm not causing as much fuel to be burnt and whatnot. But it's only this particular exercise is only done for a month, just to get their averages right, to update their figures. And recently, the American authorities had to update the women's weight by increasing it by 7 kilos.
What are you singling out the women for? What's going on?
Well, I'm just giving you the facts.
Okay.
It had it had to go up. So perhaps a few too many hamburgers are being consumed in the United States by ladies. I don't know.
But critics obviously point out this is body shaming and discrimination. Do you think, Quinton, that that's an overreaction from people?
Yeah, I do. I mean, Jeffrey's a very brave man, but I'll let him go. But in these particular circumstances, I do think it's an overreaction because it is really a voluntary. You don't have to do it. It's anonymised, so no one puts your weight against your name. And actually, the person at the check-in doesn't even see it. It's immediately passed on to a database that's not connected to you. So I do think we're getting a bit oversensitive. I think it's a bit of a headline that's really run away from people. It is for safety, as Jeffrey said. It's really important that we get this right. Just calm your jets a bit.
Is it a case, though, that if one airline does it, rather than just a trial as a permanent thing, that the others might well follow suit?
Yeah, there is that threat of the idea of it being a snowball effect. But I think, in Air New Zealand, they were directed to by their Aviation Safety Bureau. So
to get those figures up to
data.
date.
Yeah. Whereas in Australia, CASA hasn't requested Qantas to do it. Qantas already does it and is very conservative on their weight estimates. So they never have had to do it before, but it depends on the organisation, the country you're in and all those sorts of factors.
And Jeffrey, do you see a time where the Aussie airlines will be whipping out the weight scales anytime soon?
Look, I don't think so. As Quinton said, Qantas and Virgin have very, very conservative numbers. But, in some parts of the world, like in Tonga and places like that, and you're flying on a small regional aircraft, you're going to get weighed, whether you like it or not. Because when you get down to very small aircraft, that's when it becomes very critical indeed to be weighed. So people who don't want to get weighed, perhaps they should avoid a small regional airline.
Well, maybe. And what would happen if an airline were to get those weight averages wrong?
Sadly, if they've been they've been incorrect, it has caused tragic accidents.
It has.
Or it has caused some stability problems with the takeoff and a return to the airport to find out what's wrong.
And that's the question, isn't it, Quentin? Reputation for these airlines from a safety point of view, obviously... Paramount.
Absolutely. And look, the other thing is, in Australia, we already do weigh. Jeffrey was talking about small aircraft. If you do a small aircraft tour of, say, of Arnhem Land, I've been very lucky to do that, you will be weighed. In helicopter joy flights, you are weighed. Bungee jumping, you're weighed. All these things already have a sort of situation where they're already doing it. So I don't think it's that big a deal on the major airlines. They're not going to connect it to your personal data.
All right, you can both go and have a hamburger. Quentin and Jeffrey, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Pleasure.